There's a fallacy that if you scale your business, then you can't maintain a great relationship with your wife or your kids and all that. Just most men don't know how to do it. The best program on the planet to make you a better father is to become a business owner.
What big struggles or challenges have you had to go through?
The more successful you become, the more women there are in red dresses that come your way, metaphorically and literally speaking.
How does a man like that put aside that temptation?
The people who take that shortcut route or the grass is greener route and actually take action on it, they just habitually haven't thought long-term enough.
How do you navigate stress and being focused?
Stressing is when you focus on what you can't control. And that is the bottom line. If you can't control it, then what's the point in thinking about it?
If you're building success in a business and you can't say life's amazing, what's the point?
We indulge in guilt, say that we're a good person, but they're not even correlated.
How do you fix that?
Number one,
Richmond, over $20 million online, $8 million in business in the last 12 months alone. Your tiny challenge model is changing lives all around the world. And it sounds good on the surface, making all this money, but I guarantee there have been challenges with being a father, being a husband, and having that balance. Brother, tell us a little bit about what you do and what empire have you been building behind the scenes?
Yeah, so we help beginner coaches or entrepreneurs online make their first 10K in the easiest, simplest way through a tiny challenge, which is basically a marketing framework which allows you to acquire a customer without any tech involved or speaking involved, because it's a one-on-one 5-day challenge. So like a traditional challenge, that's a group challenge, but this is done one-on-one. So it gives you the ultimate flexibility, convenience, and you don't have to have all the skill sets or the overwhelm or the stresses or the following to get started online. So that's our core offering. That's our core business model there. And then we help them scale all the way from that to their first 100, then all the way to $1 million.
Huge. So that word scale is thrown around by so many experts, Alex Hormozy, Russell Brunson, and it sounds amazing. Make more money, have more freedom. I don't know about you, and we're going to hear about your journey. Many of my clients, myself included, when we scaled, we lost the other parts of our lives.
Yeah.
The balance, the stress goes through the roof. What are the biggest sort of challenges you see in modern day men when it comes to scale in business? What have you experienced and what do you see with the people that you work with?
Well, there's a fallacy that if you scale your business, then you can't maintain a great relationship with your wife or your kids and all that. Just most men don't know how to do it. Or they battle with the guilt of when they're at work, they should be at home, or when they're at home, they should be at work. And that guilt just keeps on playing back and forth. And it used to be me for a couple of years, but you need to resolve that and be a great communicator and set very clear expectations with the people that you care about, with your kids or your family or your spouse. Like that is ultra important. So it's possible. It is very hard, but it's definitely possible.
Well, what are some strategies that you have found work for you to communicate that well? Because let's say you say to your partner, I'm going to be home late today, or I need to work on this project. Sometimes she just isn't willing to tolerate that. How have you navigated that, and what strategies do you use to communicate well?
Yeah, well, first of all, this is a touchy topic. I mean, partner selection is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So how do you know you've chosen the right partner? What's the criteria? And if you feel like you've chosen the wrong partner, what should you do? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, let's dive into that. I'd love to know more about that. Yeah.
Dude, and you don't want to really be the person that says maybe you're not a good fit for each other.
Yeah.
And maybe you've got to revise your selection criteria, or maybe just what you both really want in life. But partner selection is the number one thing that creates a great relationship, or not from the get-go. It's like that in business relationships, or even if you pick the wrong client and they put them in your community and they're a toxic person, the community gets spoiled. You pick the right clients, the community is awesome. So who you pick as your life partner is the most important decision you make. So spend a lot of time thinking about that and really thinking that through. And so when I say I'm lucky, but also intuitively, I feel like, yeah, I am lucky. I got that decision right. And so Penny, my wife, is extremely understanding, but at the same time, I've made all the mistakes, but also come through the other end with it as well, with her being understanding. If she was your typical, not typical, but if she was controlling or uptight, or you know what I mean? Like that kind, then it would have been very, very hard. But luckily she's not like that. And I was looking for someone that wasn't like that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So what have been the biggest challenges that you've experienced navigating the relationship with Penny, your children, alongside the business? What big struggles or challenges have you had to go through?
Yeah, I tell you this, like this is, if men get the luxury to experience this, then that's when you know you've made it. and you won't know until you've made it. So the more successful you become, the more temptation there is. And that means you must become better at saying no. And when I say temptation, I mean there's so temptation from clearly other women, temptation from partying, temptation from other friends, temptation from buying expensive stuff, temptation of living that kind of high status world that's all materialistic, like greed, lust, all that kind of stuff. So that gets harder and more in your face the more successful you become. It's like kind of like in that the Matrix movie where he's doing that test and the woman with the red dress walks past and he turns around and he fails the test. And that's like that. So the more successful you become, the more women there are in red dresses that come your way, metaphorically and literally speaking. So that was the biggest challenge that no one told me about, but that I had to learn myself.
And how did that like play out for you? Did you make any mistakes? Did you make any decisions that you regretted, or not necessarily regretted, but put you back on your journey towards what you actually wanted? Like what happened for you?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I made any like mistakes as in like cheating or anything like that. However, I did form, like when things got hard with me and Penny and there's temptation, then you form the belief that the grass could be greener on the other side. Only because you think, oh, well, she's not giving me a hard time, or my friend, that group's not giving me a hard time, or it's just easier if I work because work gives me everything I need. And so the green is like, it's greener on the other side of work. It's greener on the other side of other friends. It's greener on the other side of other temptations. And so that plays in your mind. And so there have been times where I bought into that belief and then I built up a story that we're not compatible. But I didn't have that belief when I wasn't successful. It's a really strange thing. So that was the hardest thing I had to overcome. And credit to, like, I get tons of coaching. I've done tons of Tony Robbins. I've got personal coaching on relationship coaching. I've spent easily over $100,000 on relationship coaching, like one-on-one, marriage coaching and all that kind of stuff. And so I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own for sure. And knowing that these things are normal and hearing other people saying like, that's what's going on in my mind right now. And that's never going to end. It's only going to get worse. Like I'm glad that I dealt with it now, but that is very, very difficult for a man to sustain if they're not aware of it.
And that's the key word, is awareness, right?
Yeah.
Because what is a relationship? It's a combination of communication, connection, intimacy, respect, appreciation. Yeah. And where does a man derive his purpose? From the business, right? You provide for your family, you provide for your wife, and at work, you're respected, you're appreciated, people look up to you. You come home after a long day and you're not connected with your partner or communicating. Well, of course, you're going to start having those thoughts. Maybe this isn't right for me. Maybe she's not the right person. Maybe we're not compatible. There's nothing wrong with the thought. But a lot of men take that thought and run with it. And that's where the cheating happens, the sedation, the mental masturbation, procrastination. It seems like you actually chose to push through the challenges and work on your relationship while also building a business. How does a man who's listening to this right now, who is struggling with business, relationships, all of that balance, how does a man like that put aside that temptation? What did you do and what can they do to actually push through and work on this?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Because I have some friends that went down the path that didn't serve them and they took the short-sighted route. And it's like, dude, like, you gave up something so good. Like, she was amazing, like why did you give that up for? Like everyone's thinking it, but you can't really say it. And they messed up completely. And some friends who were like, no, I'm not going to go down that path, and kept level-headed, which is kind of my route, right? And so it's a really good question. Like the more I think about it, the more I think it comes down to your like impulse control and how of a long-term horizon do you have for yourself and your future. And I think there's a correlation between someone who can think more long-term versus someone who can't see that far versus the decisions they make in real time. And so the people who take that shortcut route or the grass is greener route and actually take action on it, they just habitually haven't thought long-term enough. Like I'm always thinking, okay, it's even though you want it now, but you know you're going to regret it later. I don't want to regret anything later.
Yeah. And coming back to the awareness piece, most men act on impulse. So we reach for the alcohol on impulse. We have that argument on impulse. You strike me as the type of person who can think long-term. a lot of men don't even have time to think. So with having a business that's done $8 million in 12 months, helped thousands of people, how do you create space to think? How do you have this mindset that clearly your relationships are important, $100,000 on relationships? How did you cultivate that mindset to think about these things?
Yeah, it's good. Well, we could do it now. Like, I mean, there's stages in business where you have to be all in on the business, and then there's stages where you have your team running most of the things, and you're only doing the things that you want to do, or you have freedom in your time and schedule, which is what we have now, which is great. But there's definitely been periods in my business where I needed to be more actively involved, and I had to spend time away from the family. But to answer your question around that, number one, like, for example, I take responsibility that if I have a role in the family, I will fulfill that role regardless. So, for example, if I'm going out and I got a meeting at nighttime, I got a call on, and I'm usually the one that cooks dinner at home. Like, I mean, because I like cooking and the girls like my cooking. Penny's like, she cooks all the desserts and all that kind of stuff. So I always make sure that dinner's ready beforehand. And so I'll prepare the whole meal, and all you need to do is put it in the microwave or put it in the oven or reheat it, and dinner's served. So I'm always preparing all these things in the background. Or if I'm going away for a week or 2 weeks, I'm making sure that Penny's okay with like babysitting, and we've got resources involved, and it's not going to be too hard on her. So I'm trying to do my best to even fulfill my roles when I'm not there. Mm-hmm. And that just comes with preparation and planning, and you can do that. I mean, I think most people just, okay, I'm gone, and then they don't kind of, fill their roles. So
if you're getting value from this podcast episode, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. It allows us to reach more men, to keep more families together, and to give you more value with the guests that we get on board. So please do me a favor, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon so we can give you even more value. Well, the story I hear from a lot of men is, I've done my part. I've made the money, I've provided, therefore I shouldn't have to do anything else. And you and I both know it's an extremely toxic mindset.
Yeah.
The best example is you come home after a long day, there's dishes in the sink, and you lose your shit, right? Yeah. And it's like, well, why can't you just go and help with the dishes?
Yeah.
So it sounds like you actually take responsibility of your role. Did you and Penny define these roles? How did you establish what your roles were in a healthy relationship where you're the provider? And I'm assuming, is she a stay-at-home mother, or
No, she works as well? Too. She's got her own business.
So how did you guys define that? Because most men have no idea how to make that work. How did you do that?
That's true.
Yeah.
It did not start off like that. Like, of course, there was expectations. Like, you should do this, that kind of stuff. And I'm doing more, and you're counting. Yeah. And there was times where we counted. Like, we probably in the first couple of years, we were both counting, and that's deadly, right?
Yeah.
And we have both had so many unrealistic expectations of each other. And so the roles, I would say two things. Number one, it kind of like, I think the roles, we never really had a conversation on when we decided to stop counting. So we did a relationship program together, and we both were, number one, aware that we were both counting. And then we said, okay, from this point forward, no more counting. And that's it. And then kind of the roles just kind of naturally formed on its own. Like, you do what you want to do, that you love doing, and I do this, and then we work well together. And if she doesn't do it, I'll do it. Like, for example, this morning before we left to go here, I unpacked the whole dishwasher, and I wouldn't say that's her role. Like, I mean, it's not a spoken thing we spoke about, but we don't really mind who does what. Like, if you do it, it's cool. If I do it, that's cool. Either we don't complain. I think that comes down to, I don't know, just unified vision together. We both want the same outcome. We both want the same thing. It doesn't really matter who does that small thing or not. Like, that's not really important right now.
Yeah, and don't count it, because that's where the resentment begins, right? You didn't do this, or you did this.
Yeah.
And we just collide instead of connecting.
Yeah.
Rosie, my wife, and I, we've been together for 9 years, 2 young daughters together. And for anyone listening at home, I want them to understand your relationship and my relationship is something that didn't happen overnight. 4 years ago, we were arguing, counting like you were, not intimate, blaming each other. Now our relationship is better than ever. And we have this principle called laser focus, LASUR. So love, appreciation, support, understanding, and respect.
Love that,
That's
man.
the foundation of a relationship, right? So when you have laser focus, you win. It seems like you are very aligned on that. Like, the two of you, despite both of you having businesses and being successful, You give each other laser focus, love, appreciation, support, all that sort of stuff. Did you naturally fall into that, or did you have a process for creating that in your relationship? Like, how did the two of you connect with 3 children, multiple businesses? How do you guys make that time to give each other
Yeah,
that?
you have to schedule in time for each other.
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but actually, we schedule it in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't happen. You have to be very intentional and deliberate, especially when you've got kids and businesses, to have your time together. And so we are very intentional and deliberate about it. And to the point where we have a date night once a month. We get a nanny because our grandparents can't look after the kids anymore. Because my father-in-law had a stroke and, he can't really look after our kids anymore. So we hire a nanny now. We have our date nights. We do our thing. We got a weekly family thing. So everything's scheduled in from that perspective. Now we're going to the gym together, which is a lot of fun. So those things are very intentional, very deliberate. And I used to have this limiting belief that if it's scheduled in, then it can't be fun because it's so rigid.
Yeah.
But it can be fun because you just don't know where the night's going to go. You don't know how it's going to end. And you can still have a lot of fun, but you just have to schedule it in.
I love that. It's ultimately making it a priority.
Yes.
Right? Because you don't not show up to a work meeting.
Yeah.
But so many men don't show up for their children's practices, picking them up from school, or even taking their partner on a date.
Yes.
Like at the beginning, we date our partner, then we get busy and we stop.
Yeah.
So scheduling it in, what has been the biggest tiny challenge or biggest challenge you've had when it comes to business and relationships? How has the business impacted your relationship in any negative ways in the past?
Yeah. Expecting that she would understand the problems that I go through and she's expecting I understand the problems that she goes through. And I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair. Like, we could never understand how it is to be a mom. Like, how could you? And I don't think women could ever really truly understand how it is to be an entrepreneurial dad and be a provider and have that kind of pressure on you. And so removing the expectation to fully understand her or her to understand me has been a big thing for me. Like, I just thought, how come she doesn't get it? Like, and I'm like, she's like, how come he doesn't get me? And, and now we have this mutual understanding. It's like, you know what? I know it's really hard for you. I don't know how you go through that problem. I don't know how you go through that challenge, but I just really appreciate how you do it. There's no way I'd be able to do it if I were you. And that's it.
That's amazing. So you acknowledge each other and you're a team.
Yeah.
How do you communicate about difficult things, difficulties in the business, difficulties with parenting? I'm sure you haven't been aligned on everything, right? How do you guys communicate effectively in this relationship?
Well, she'll tell you something different. I'm only vocal about certain things. Number one, like certain parenting things. And that's pretty much about it.
Okay, so you don't really pick it much, right?
No. Actually, only 2 things I kind of be vocal about is certain parenting things, which I think if it's not going to be good for their self-esteem, then I'll speak up. Or if things going to give them a complex later on in life, it's like we should be careful on that. And the other thing is certain friends that I don't like that she hangs around with. I'm like, oh, no, I don't think that person's good for you. And I would say something, but I wouldn't really say you can't spend time with them. I would just say, I just think you should spend less time with them. I don't think they're really that good for you. They're living in victim mentality. Every time you see them, they just blame. It's just one of those friends that you probably shouldn't hang around as much, but they're a long-term friend and I've known her for a long time and she's loyal and that kind of stuff. So those are the times I'm vocal.
But it seems like when you're vocal, you use the right tonality and you're not telling her, you're asking her in some way, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I'm not perfect. I don't want to be like, oh, Richard's a perfect dad and husband. Like, definitely not the case, but yes.
Well, you're a human, right? We all get triggered. We all get upset sometimes. We all raise our voice sometimes. But you strike me as a communication expert. We interviewed Ryan Tuckwood. I don't know if you know Ryan. He's, picked up by the Shark Tank investors. He's an elite communicator. You seem like you're the same way. You speak on stages, you speak at events. What are some sort of tips you could give the listener at home who does go tit for tat with his wife, who does have a lack of alignment, who doesn't feel like they understand each other? How would that person communicate with his partner so that they can be on the same page? Any tips around tonality, questions, curiosity? Like what would you do?
Yeah, I'm glad. I really wish I could say that I'm the expert in this. This has been like a crazy work in progress on this. My number one tip is listen first. Like and be good at holding your tongue. Like
Yeah.
just listen first and listen and wait until they've said everything,
Yeah.
and then you can speak. It's kind of like when you're doing conflict management with like your kids, and it's like, okay, you speak first, let her speak, and then you can speak after. Have you finished everything? And she's like, yes. Anything else you want to say? No. Great, your turn. And then you stay quiet. And then has she finished? Yeah. Okay. Then we do conflict resolution.
Yeah.
So
Don't try to fix it right away. Yeah.
yeah, that's another topic.
That's a reminder for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Because what we do in business, right? There's a problem, we fix it. And then in our relationship, our partner just wants to say her piece and we try to make her wrong.
Yeah.
Or we try to fix the problem. Sometimes my wife just wants me to listen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sometimes I think all the time.
All the time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So taking it further in your relationship, were you both always, chasing success? Were you both always working on yourselves, or did one of you lead that charge in this relationship?
Yeah. Definitely me. Definitely me.
Talk me through that.
Yeah. I don't want to say I was broken, but I was the more broken one. I came from the tougher upbringing, the childhood, all that kind of stuff. Her family is like, her upbringing is kind of picture perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Parents are still together. All tertiary education. And lived in a really nice suburb, and they earned great incomes, and that kind of family unit. And really no big stresses or dramas growing up in life. That was kind of her upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas mine was the complete opposite. My mum was a single mum of 4 boys. My parents split up when I was very, very young.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of abuse when I was a lot younger, witnessed a lot of things, and just a very, very different upbringing. And so that carried forward later in my future because I had a lot of mummy issues.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously as a man, if you got mummy issues, then you're going to have issues in your marriage. Like that's just how it is. And so for me, I needed to work on myself first because I realized I was bringing all my childhood projections into this relationship and it wasn't working. And I realized that was all me. Like, I don't want to say it's all me. I mean, in relationship, it's, both partners need to take responsibility. But for me, I was definitely projecting a lot of my stuff, unresolved stuff first.
Thanks for sharing that. It takes a lot of courage to say that. And most men do point the finger.
Yeah.
They've got one finger pointing at the partner, but 3 pointing back at them.
Yeah.
I remember about 4 years ago, Rosie and I were in Bondi, and many of the same issues that you had in your childhood I had as well. And I would blame Rosie for the lack of connection, the lack of understanding, etc. And I called one of my mentors. I mentioned him off camera, Lynn Trin.
Yeah.
And I started complaining about my wife. She's doing this, and this. And he said, Tony, shut the fuck up. I'm like, excuse me? I'm paying you money for this, right? He goes, what are you not doing well? And it's, you have those light bulb moments.
Yeah.
That's when responsibility became a word for me. You've mentioned it a few times now. Most men don't know how to take responsibility. If you are a man listening at home right now and you blame your business, you blame your partner, you blame your team, how can responsibility change that man's life? What has it done for you? And how would a man begin to start going down the path of ownership and responsibility of his life? What would you recommend?
It is like how to take responsibility.
Yeah, because a lot of successful men don't, right?
It's great. It is so crazy. Like, I mean, they clearly take some responsibility in their business. Otherwise, they wouldn't be where they are.
Yeah.
But in their intimate relationships, they don't. It is, I would say, it is the most masculine thing you can do is take ownership. Like, I mean, if you're living in your feminine, you're not taking ownership. That's my opinion. And so, ownership is your sign, your calling to grow, to step into the man that you're meant to be. And it is extremely hard, to say that, hey, okay, this is what I could have done better. This is where I contributed in this. And like, for example, like this is, I'll say in the most, I guess, artful way that's not going to make Penny look bad or anything like that. Like this is not to degrade her or anything like that. Like there was one time where, she was getting a lot of validation from other men. She didn't do anything with it anyway, but it felt good to her. And most men would be like getting jealous and all that kind of stuff. But I thought, wow, man, I must not be giving her what she needs right now, and I'm like, it hurt. But at the same time, I'm like, clearly I am not serving her needs. And that's why, maybe she's forming the story that I don't know what story she was forming, but
yeah,
you know what I mean? And so because I took that ownership, it made me step up. And if I didn't, then I would have carried it somewhere else, you know? So,
And who knows what would have happened.
yeah.
Because you can say the grass is greener for a year, 2, 3, but there's a certain point where you jump ship to the other part of the grass. And that's nothing to say that would have happened.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're not the man you know you can be as a husband, as a father, as a business owner, the rest of the world is coming after you. I truly believe that.
Yep.
It's as a man, it's a competitive space.
Yep.
There's a lot of weight on your shoulders, and it's not just enough anymore to make money.
Yep.
How do you communicate with your partner?
Yep.
How much of a leader and role model are you? How do you deal with stress? How do you take ownership? There are other men out there who do those things well. So if you continue to not do them well, things begin to break, right?
Exactly. There's consequences for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
So you've come on this amazing journey, and I want anyone listening at home right now to understand you're here, multi-million-dollar business, 3 beautiful children, an amazing wife who's on the journey with you. It didn't happen overnight, right? For anyone listening right now, it takes time and work, but it's the most beautiful feeling, right?
Yes.
Like it's what it's all about.
Yes.
Coming to the children's side of things, you have a successful business, and I can see you're traveling with your family. You've flown here for this podcast, and thank you for doing that. How did becoming a father impact you in terms of pressure, business, stress? How did it feel for you becoming a father and navigating fatherhood?
Yeah. I believe the best program on the planet to make you a better father is to become a business owner. Because you face rejection, you have to solve problems, you have to become a leader, you're forced to take responsibility, take ownership, become creative, and like all those skill sets of becoming a successful business owner carry on to being a great father. And so for me, I'm grateful that I started a business when I had Kennedy. So I started 8.5 years ago. She's 9 now. And it has made me a much better father. So number one, I'm not saying everyone should get into business to become a better father.
Yeah. People might be employees, right? You can still be a dad.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. It definitely has allowed me to grow a lot because it's allowed me to teach them about rejection and handling failure. Because you see that very differently as an entrepreneur. And so they may come home and maybe a friend excluded them. And you're like, okay, so what did you make that mean? And then you can now coach them through that. And now I believe the greatest gift I can give them is to be able to reframe or make things mean the things that they want it to mean that's going to serve them. And if they can handle rejection and failure and setbacks and judgment at a very young age, because you have to handle that as an entrepreneur, then you know you're going to set them up for life, for forever, really. That's the greatest gift.
So powerful. So you basically took this stance with being a father of teaching them the skill sets, the mindsets, the tools to handle the challenges of life.
Yeah.
What challenges did you have being a father? Did you have any balance issues, stresses, or did you always have the balance between the business and family? How did you navigate that?
Yeah, at the start, I had this illusion of balance. Like balance is definitely not an illusion. You have to have priorities. So I really had to develop the skill of being able to switch hats very quickly.
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, I was like I said before, like I was at work, but thinking about, I should be at home. And then I'm with my kids and my wife, and then I'm thinking I should be at work. And so I was never present equally to any of those until I realized if I just be fully focused when I'm working, and then when I go spend time with my family, I put on the family hat, I put on the dad or the husband hat, and be fully present then that makes all the difference. It's not actually about how much time you spend with them in a balanced sense. It's how much focused time you spend with them. And so I could spend an hour with my girls, and I dare say it is probably more impactful than what most other dads will spend for the whole day because they're on their phone or thinking about something else, or they're not even playing with the kids and they're not present and not there, and the kids seem bored, and it's just really sad to see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So focused time is more important than the amount of time.
It's so true because most men don't realize they're doing this, but they're not able to be focused with their children.
Yeah.
I took my daughter about a year ago to this like playground park thing with all the balls and climbing stuff. And I was there playing with her for an hour. I was climbing through the tunnels, getting all sweaty. And the entire side wall of that place is fathers or mothers on their phones. And we laugh about it, right?
yes.
But I used to be that guy. I took Talia down to the cafe this morning. I take her 4 to 5 days a week for breakfast, which I'm so grateful my business provides me the freedom to do. But a year ago, I would have struggled to do that because I was constantly stressed and I couldn't switch off. How do you deal with stress? How do you switch off? Because it sounds simple, focus on your kids. But like when you're thinking about that tax bill, that employee that quit, that whatever problem it is, it's hard for a lot of men. So how do you navigate stress and being focused? How do you switch off?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, I mean, I don't know. I love spending time with my kids. Like, I really actually do.
Yeah.
And so when you said when you go to the play centers and stuff like that, yeah, there's probably been times where I was on my phone and stuff. It doesn't happen too often though. There's definitely times where I haven't been present in other situations.
Yeah.
But at those play centers, it's funny because I see, like you said, all the other dads on their phones and stuff.
Yeah.
And after an hour, legit, like all the other kids are playing with me, and now I'm like the dad that every kid's playing with.
Yeah.
So I really love kids. I really love spending time with my kids. So that to me, it's been naturally easy on that front. But
Dealing with stress and switching off. Do you get stressed?
I do.
Yeah.
But I just, yeah, I'm looking back. How I deal with stress is like, I don't know. I wouldn't say I've always been like this, but it's just stressing is when you focus on what you can't control. And that is the bottom line. And so I've just really built a great habit to just focus on what I can control. And most of the time, like if you can't control it, then what's the point in thinking about it? You know what I mean? So that's part of taking responsibility and taking ownership is only focusing on what you can control. And a real example is like when, for example, Kennedy comes home and her friend said something that wasn't nice or she got excluded or whatever it is, and she preferred her friend to act or behave differently. And I said, well, the reason why you're feeling like that is because you're trying to control another person, which you can't. So what can you control? And then eventually now she gets it. It's like, well, I can't control what I can make it mean or what I do about it. And it's like, wow, okay, that's good. So just building the habit of what you can control will be able to allow you to handle stress a lot better. But I'll give you something that I did because I wasn't like, I've been in Tony Robbins' world for a long time. And the best way to change your state is radical change in physiology.
Yeah.
And so I used to, not so much stress, but I could be angry for a couple of days. So if Penny and I had a fight, I could be angry for a couple of days. Yeah. And so I set this personal goal of mine because I saw Tony Robbins say, oh my gosh, like I only set myself a goal where I only allow myself to feel stress, overwhelm, anger, whatever it is for a maximum of 90 seconds and I snap out of it. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. So initially when I started, I said, okay, I'll set myself a day and I won't get angry for more than a day or won't get overwhelmed or whatever it is. Then it brought it down to 12 hours, then 5 hours, then an hour, then 15 minutes and 5 minutes. And anytime I went above that, I'd put myself in a cold shower.
Love it.
And it was so good because no matter how angry you are, you jump in a cold shower, you're not feeling angry anymore. You're just feeling like, get me out of here. And you forget about what you're angry about.
Yep.
It's the best pattern interrupt ever. And I did that for a couple of years. And I mean, I've done a cold shower every day for 5 years now anyway.
Love it.
But that built a really good habit to be able to break your state when you're in a state that you can't get out of.
I love that. And the word that comes up here, there's two. One is state and the second is choice.
Yeah.
So what we teach our clients is that when you start your day, you get yourself into a powerful state. Tony Robbins is the godfather of this, right? Now, can you get into a powerful state and be derailed? Yes, you can have a problem in the business, you can have a tax bill, your wife and you can get into an argument, but at least you've put your armor on and you're getting ready for the day. And that ties into this idea of choice. You strike me as the type of man who makes a lot of conscious choices that have become unconscious. For example, communicating with your wife, understanding each other, taking responsibility of your role in what's going on with her and the kids, finding balance, being focused. Those are all micro choices. And I'm assuming, so correct me if I'm wrong, that those choices felt hard at some point. Like when you go to the gym and squat heavy, it's strain. But I'm assuming right now, it just happens like brushing your teeth. You don't think about it.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
That's accurate. And
it's
that's
who
probably
you
why
are.
you ask me these questions like, wow, I don't know how that started because, you're so unconscious about it.
Yep.
But it must have started somewhere. So yeah, you're spot on.
The reason I say that is because a lot of men will listen and go, this sounds amazing, but it's way too fucking hard,
Yeah.
right? It's like, okay, so you're saying I can have a great marriage and a great business and have focused time with my kids and not get too stressed and deal with my negative emotions in 90 seconds? Too hard.
Yeah.
But the point is, it doesn't happen overnight. Like if you're listening to this right now at home and you don't love spending time with your kids and you can't switch off and you're disconnected from your wife, 80% of men, well, it's going to take time. Brick by brick, and there will be a point, I'm a living proof of this, where you wake up and go, life's amazing. Because if you're building success in a business and you can't say life's amazing, what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When was that turning point for you where you woke up and you just went, I've got everything I want? Like, when did that happen for you?
Yeah. When I stopped feeling guilty. That was a big game changer for me. Guilt is the most, like, for any man watching this or anyone watching this, really, you got to stop feeling guilty. Guilt is the most selfish emotion you can experience as a man, as a father, as a husband. Why? Because guilt has been, from a society point of view, put onto us saying that if I've done something bad and I plead guilty, I get a lesser sentence, which means I'm a good person. And they only give you a lesser sentence if you plead guilty for the exact same crime, because it tells you that you're a good person. But if you murdered someone and you plead guilty, you still murdered someone to a person that didn't plead guilty. And so we're taught from a very early age in our whole system that we're brought up in is, if I say I'm guilty or if I feel guilt, it means I'm a good person. And the converse is, if I don't feel guilty, it means you're bad. You are bad to the bone because you didn't feel guilty. And so we indulge in guilt to say that we're a good person, but they're not even correlated. And so when we indulge in guilt, it's only to make ourselves feel better, not them, because now you're saying to yourself, okay, I feel guilty, so I can feel like I'm a good person.
How do you fix that?
Number one, that is a big misconception. Understand that guilt has been placed onto you from perceptions of society. And so when you stop feeling guilty, you can start feeling focused. And so when I stop feeling guilty, I'm like, you know what? I don't feel guilty. I don't feel guilty anymore that I'm away 1 week every single month traveling to the States with my work commitments and I'm not with my family. I used to, but how does it serve me or how does it serve my kids? What I've learned is that your kids have no base reference of what is normal or not normal. They have zero. It's only when you come to them feeling bad that you're not there, they're thinking, oh, so it is bad. When they didn't even know. They have zero framework, they have like zero reference point of what is normal or not normal until they talk to their friends later on in life, but that's later on in life. And so when daddy goes away for a week, that could be like, daddy goes away for a week. It doesn't mean anything. It's because you felt guilty about it. You made it mean something. I'm so sorry I'm gone. I never apologize when I'm going away because I don't feel guilty about it. And it's not a problem. And they don't, like, it's not a problem for them too. And when daddy comes back, it's like, yeah, we have fun and daddy's back and they're happy for him to be back. But I don't think they're going to develop a complex about it later on in life saying, yeah, daddy was gone once a month because I didn't put that problem onto them.
If you want to actually take this framework that I shared and apply it to your life, it's part of our Empowered Man Armory and our app that we've spent almost 250 grand on. If you want access to a powerful system where you can use this reframe system I just shared with you every single day, then find me on Instagram at Tony Empowered Man. TONIEMPOWEREDMAN. I'll put the link down below as well. Send me a DM saying reframe, and I'll give you this exact framework as well as early access to the Empowered Man app when it launches. That makes a lot of sense. So let's take it a step further. Let's say you're not doing that with your children. Most men I work with, they're making millions of dollars, or they're employees that are successful, and they feel guilt in a different way. They feel the guilt and the shame of not enough. So I should have more money. I should be further ahead. I should be providing for my family. I shouldn't be working so much. And whether they admit it to anyone externally, deep within them, they feel this lack. It's scarcity, it's fear, it's doubt. I have one client in particular, he'll watch this and I know he's going to go, that's me, where he's like, I should be somewhere else. How does a man navigate that? Because that scarcity mindset, even if you have a great relationship in business, it destroys you. How do you navigate that guilt and that shame?
Yeah, well, number one, get rid of guilt and shame. Just get rid of it immediately, and understand. Maybe just reframe it or relabel it as dissatisfaction. You're allowed to be dissatisfied. You're like, I mean, let's be real. Do I want to make more money? Yes. Should I be further ahead? Yes. Am I dissatisfied that I made $8 million last year? You know, a part of me is. Like, I'm like, how come we didn't get to 10?
Yeah.
Like, you know, what's
nice round number.
Yeah, like exactly. Let's get to 10.
Yeah.
Of course I'm dissatisfied. And if I look back at all the mistakes I've made, I'm like, man, if I didn't make those mistakes or made that decision, could have been at 50 million this year. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things. So I love, like, the old me used to feel guilty that I'm not there or shameful that I'm not there. But I really don't feel that anymore. I'm dissatisfied, and I love feeling dissatisfied because it drives me and it makes me hungry
Yeah.
in a resourceful way. Guilt results to unresourceful behaviors, and it's self-loathing. It's like, I'm never good enough, and you lose your masculinity, and then your wife is not attracted to you anymore. Like, who's going to be attracted to a person that feels shame?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's very unattractive, you know? And so, but being dissatisfied, that could be a very attractive thing. Like, wow, I just love how it's like, you know, that person just never settles, and there's just like, you know, they're always striving for the best, and there's just like, it's a kind of a good thing. I see it as a good thing.
Yeah, when you frame it that way, it is positive and it shows the power of the framing.
Yeah.
Like back, I think I told you earlier when you walked in, our business was really successful on the outside. And this can happen to men making $100 million a year.
Yeah.
But when you feel scarcity, I'm not enough, I need more, I should be further ahead, it doesn't matter what the dollar figure is. And what really changed my life, excuse me, was going from scarcity and not enough to I have everything I want. I have everything I need, but I desire more.
Yes.
And dissatisfaction's so true. It's not that I need more. It's not that I have to have more. I want more property. I want more money. I want more profit. But I also have an amazing family. I have a healthy body and I have a great life. So I think for a lot of men, detaching from needing more and actually getting out of that disease and going, I'm dissatisfied. I want to be better, not I need to be better. That one frame can change your life.
Totally.
It's like the mindset around it. Speaking of mindset, what is your money mindset? A lot of men, when this not enough conversation comes up, they'll burn their marriage and freedom to the ground to make more, right?
Yes.
That's a money mindset.
Yes.
That is a belief
Yes.
system. So what is your belief system around money and how has it changed throughout the years?
Yes. Well, coming from an Asian background, there's a kind of an archetype of what the money beliefs are, especially my parents came from Vietnam and communists took over. They had nothing. It was very scarce. You never waste food. Like, you know, like we had to always finish our food. And I'm like, but we've got a lot of food. But I didn't know how they grew up when I was younger.
Yeah.
Where they grew up, it was like, you don't know if you're going to eat tomorrow, you know? So they're always like, finish your food. So that was that. Number one, it was save. Because you just don't know whether you're going to have work tomorrow or whether there's crops going to be tomorrow. So from our parents or my parents or the culture, I grew up with that kind of core belief that I had to overcome. And so I'm not saying it's harder than the average person, but that's kind of the context. So the scarcity mindset of how to overcome that is I really believe that every man should lose everything to understand that it's actually okay. And so I don't know if there's a better way to do it. I mean, it's not a good way to do it.
Yeah.
But if you hit rock bottom and you've lost everything, only to realize that, wow, what is actually most important is my creativity, my resourcefulness, how I handle stress, how I overcome setbacks, my reframing, and my hunger and desire to become more like that. And you find out who you really are, then you get out of scarcity. And that happened to me 8.5 years ago when I lost everything plus more, like legit.
What happened?
I invested really poorly in the property market. So I had 13 properties, doing really well, self-made, no mentors, nothing like that. And the next 3 I over leveraged in the mining towns because the mining industry was booming in Queensland. And I bought $1.5 million worth of property, bang, all in 1 year. They were getting $2,000 a week rent, which was like, holy crap, like this is a dream come true. In my mind, I was uneducated. It'll never go down. And in the next 12 months, it kept on crashing to the point where those properties had negative $200,000 equity. I couldn't service the loans anymore. I was talking to bankruptcy lawyers, insolvency practitioners, and everything. And that was when I had nothing. And when I had nothing, that's when Penny was there for me. And that's when I knew she is the one that, like, adversity or achievement only proves one thing about a man. It's how competent they are. Adversity proves their character. And so if you haven't been through enough adversity, then you don't really find out who you really are. And so I went through that. I found out who I really was. I found out who Penny was really there for me at my lowest lows. And that was the catalyst for me to realize that, you know what? I've been dead broke before and it was actually okay. Like everything that was important to me was still there. And so I'm okay with losing it all again. Not that I want to, but I know that I don't have to have a scarcity mindset anymore because it was all false. It was all fallacy.
And you created your reality.
Yes.
Because that's where a lot of men do give up. You know, there's cheating, there's drugs, alcohol, depression, anxiety, or for a lot of men ending their own life. You had a choice to make in that moment where you lost everything and you decided to rise and show your character through that adversity.
Yes.
For the man listening right now who does feel like life is a struggle right now, whether it's a relationship breakdown, a disconnected marriage, business stress where it feels like a prison, maybe they've got lots of money, they haven't lost it all, but they just feel trapped and stuck. How can that man listening right now use that adversity as a test of character to propel himself to the next level? What would you say to that man?
Yep. Number one way to change your life right now, whatever you're going through right now, is obviously like the physiology. Like, say, yeah, radical change. If you have a cold shower, you'll change your state, but that's kind of short term. And then what? Like, have another cold shower.
And if you're in the middle of like a meeting and you're panicking, you can't really just jump in the shower, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no matter what situation you're in right now, and this is like my number one advice for anyone, is then to change your literal environment. And when I say environment, your peer group. Your peer group is going to be the number one dictator of how far and how fast you go. And if you are failing, but you're failing around the right people, then count your blessings because you'll get through it. But if you're failing around the wrong people, then it's going to be very hard to get out. And so I lost a lot of friends when I failed, but also I gained some really strong relationships too of the people who were actually there for me. And I was lucky. I only needed 2 or 3 people around me to carry me through that period. And now they're my friends for life. So make sure you surround yourself with great people around you. It is everything. Like, we all know it as parents, like, you know, don't spend time with that person. Or when they come home with a different friend, they're a different person. Or they get influenced. And even you've been told as a kid, like, you know, I like that person. You should hang out with that person more. Or don't date that girl. You shouldn't hang out with that group. And every person that starts out good, like somewhere in year 7, 8, 9, 10, they start getting ear piercing, tattoos, doing drugs, jigging school, their grades drop. It's always because they started hanging around with the wrong crowd. And that's why parents send their kids to boarding school, so they trap them in the right environment. Change your peer group. I would say most people spend time with people who are little bit less than them so they can feel superior. And so if you look at your top 5, if you are like the number 1 in your top 5, you're in a very dangerous spot. It feels good from a significance level, but it's not good for your growth. You want to be 4 or 5 in your top 5. Most people spend time with people who are a little bit less than them so they can feel good, particularly men. Most women spend time with women just like them. And so they're equal so they don't grow, but not many people spend time with people who are doing better than them in some area of their lives to help them grow and propel to the next level, because you have to go through a bit of imposter and, am I actually good enough to be in this group? What do I have to provide? What value do I have? Why are they being my friend? Are they trying to scam me? All those stories with hanging out with a better peer group. But once you overcome those stories, your life will change dramatically.
It changes so quickly as well,
Yeah.
because the rising tide raises all the ships.
Yes.
I started hanging out with the unemployable crew. Eric has a $100 million business and like 7 or 8 $10 million businesses.
So cool.
Adam has multiple tens of millions of dollars of property. I'm like, that's possible.
Yes.
But I think for a lot of men, they have this lone wolf mentality. She'll be right, mate. I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to burden people. A lot of high performing men, they sacrifice their peer group. They sacrifice their friends. All they do is work, or their friend group are just drinking at the pub.
Yeah.
So I cannot understate what you just shared. And please, anyone listening right now, rewind that piece. If you want to become a better man, better in business, better as a father or as a husband, find better men.
Yeah.
This is why you have a mastermind. This is why I have a mastermind of men who are successful.
That's why I get personal coaching on it too. Like,
Absolutely.
I get business coaching, but also like husband coaching and man coaching, like legit.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I think my phone's down there, so your phone's right there. We upgrade that fucking thing every year.
Yeah.
It's $2,000 a year for a new one of those. We'll drive a $50,000 to $100,000 car, but God forbid you invest in yourself.
Oh God, good point.
But you're the number 1 investment on the planet. And it shows that you've spent $100,000 on personal coaching for your relationship. Now, some men will go, that's ridiculous. That's so much money, rich people. But you built wealth through doing what you did. You invested in yourself, and it clearly shows in how you show up. You seem deeply happy and like you love life. You are successful, which ties into the next question. Finish the sentence for me. Real success is
when you get to do what you want with who you want, and enjoy the journey on the process, like along the way. Like
Awesome.
what you want with who you want. That's most important, with who you want to do it with.
And what would be the number one thing you would say to change right now? We got responsibility, we got get coaching, we got your peer group. If you want real success and you're working hard for your family and you feel like none of it's really success, what does that person need to do today to create real success, to do what they want with who they want? What do they do?
Trade your expectations for standards. The only reason why you are not happy with where you are right now is because you had a false expectation of how reality should be. And so the moment you and the reason why reality is not the way it is because you had expectations, not standards. And so very different people think, oh my gosh, I have such high standards. No, you have high expectations because you're a perfectionist, or you have false beliefs of how things should be. How things should be is not a standard. They're an expectation, and people have expectation on themselves, on other people, on where they should be in life. Once you trade that for a standard, which is something that you're not going to settle for, something are your non-negotiables. Like, for example, there was a time and place where you're probably earning your first job, I don't know, 15
I was
bucks
working at Domino's Pizza in New Zealand, earning $14 an hour.
14 bucks an hour.
Yeah.
You'll never work for 14 bucks an hour ever again.
2 to 3 grand an hour minimum.
Yep,
minimum.
That's a standard.
Yeah.
That's a standard. That's not an expectation. That's a standard.
Yep.
And so people mix them up. And so that's why they're frustrated. That's not why they're not where they want to be. That's why they're the person they want to be, because they mix up a standard for an expectation.
What are your standards that you go through daily and weekly to create this amazing life that you have in marriage, business, and family?
Yep. So one of the standards I set for myself was I had a cold shower every day for 5 years. And I recently just swapped that. And the reason why I do that, it's not because of the health benefits, although now a lot of studies show it's very healthy for you to do cold plunges and stuff. The reason why I did that was I wanted to train my mind to push through the uncomfortable. Like when my mind says no, I'm going to do it. So a standard for me was, if I say I'm going to do something or commit to doing it, then I would do it regardless of how I feel, because I said I would. So you have a standard of how you respond to your own word. I think that's really important, and that's probably one of the reasons why, I don't know the real reason. I've been my best man 5 times. That's 5 bachelor parties I had to organize. That's 5 best man speeches I had to do. But like, I ask my friends time and time again, like, what do they love most about me? It's because with Richmond, he always follows through on what he said he would do. And I asked Penny, like, why'd you marry me? It's because I know what I'm going to get with you. You know, like, she just knows that when I say it, I do it. And so that's a standard you set for yourself. When you say it, you just do it, even if you don't feel like doing it. And that's why today I said to dude, like, I'm so sorry I'm late. I hate being late. Like, it's not me, because I said I'll be there here and I wasn't there. And it's like, it just gets to me because it's against my standards. And so I don't want to let people down. I'm super extremely reliable. I'm very consistent and very dependable. And so that's a personal standard I set for myself. And so it's different from an expectation, because the standard's tied to your identity. It's who you are. And so I don't know if that answered your question, but
no, it absolutely does. It comes back to integrity.
Yeah.
So
yes.
My daughter's turning 4 on the 22nd July, so in about 7 days. And I'm taking a day off for her birthday, which would have been so unreal just 2 years ago in business. Just take time off.
Yeah.
And my daughter has recently started calling me Beast. And the reason my daughter calls me Beast is because my wife says, your daddy's a beast. And the reason she says your daddy's a beast is because I follow the fuck through. And you hit the nail on the head, whether you feel like it or not. Every man listening to this right now, how many times have you said you're going to be home on time and not followed through?
Yeah.
How many times have you said you're not going to yell at your kids and not followed through? In your business or career, how many times have you not followed through? You can lie to your wife. You can lie to your team or your children, but you can't lie to yourself. And when that alarm goes off at 4:30 in the morning and it's cold and raining outside, but you said you were going to go for a run and you don't go, that brings your confidence down. So you hit the nail on the head. A standard for men is follow through on your word.
Yes.
If you say it, you do it, regardless of how you feel. And I tell you what, it's I'm a words of affirmation guy.
Yeah.
When my daughter says you're a beast and my wife says, it makes me feel so good.
Dude, I'm the same. Like,
Yeah.
It's so easy with words of affirmation, people. Like, just tell them you're awesome. Shit.
Yeah,
That got me. Like,
but you got to earn that.
Yeah.
Like, so many men feel like they deserve to be called strong, confident. No, like, you don't deserve anything as a man. It's a cruel world.
Yeah.
So I know you know this feeling. Anyone listening at home, if you're going, that sounds pretentious, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying it because it feels so good to be acknowledged by your partner as that leader.
Yeah.
And every man gets to feel that, right? I want to tie off a few things here. What is the lie that you feel most men believe about success? What have we been fed, and what do we not understand about success? What's the misconception around this idea of success?
Ooh. Okay. Success, I'll probably say this a couple of ways. Like, success is not like success. I'm trying to articulate it. I'm trying to think of a metaphor.
Because we're told success is make money and provide. But
That's
the divorce rate's 50%. And most men are miserable.
Yes, and when they get there, they push the goal further and they're never happy.
Never happy.
Yeah. It's I don't know if the rite of passage is the best word. Like, for example, you don't go to the gym to get, like, if you go to the gym, right? And clearly you go to the gym. It's really funny. You don't really see obese people at the gym because fit people go to the gym. People don't go to the gym to get fit. Fit people go to the gym. And so if you truly want success in your life, know that successful people strive for success. Success doesn't make you successful. And so if you think of it that way, then success becomes fun and failure becomes fun and judgment becomes fun and everything. It's just a whole journey. It's a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage to fulfill your true calling, your identity of who you really are. And so fit people go to the gym, successful people strive for success. Like, that's just how it is. Most men think, if I become successful, then I'll be good enough, without realizing that you strive for that because you're already successful. And so that the whole point of yours saying, I'm grateful for what I have, but I want more. And so when you get that balance right, you understand where that is in your life, then you'll never have to worry about, self-sabotaging or burning bridges or doing things you're not going to regret, like you're going to regret later on.
What comes up for me around that is journey over destination.
Yes.
I've shared this on a few podcasts. I have a Rolex watch, which I forgot to bring today, and I have a nice Tesla, and they were my dream things, right? I couldn't even imagine affording that in the past. And the day after I bought my Rolex, I sat in my office crying. And I wasn't crying because life was bad. I was crying because I thought this thing would make me happy. And it's really nice, but it didn't fill any void. And the next time I bought my Tesla, I was crying the next day. And I cry a lot, clearly. But I was crying in it because I'm like, this thing didn't make me happy. And I think you mentioned the goalposts earlier. Most men tend to think success is when I achieve this thing, I'm successful. What I'm hearing you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is success is the journey. Success is who you become on the way. And if you can enjoy the journey while achieving the thing, that's true success. Exactly. Is that sort of the idea?
It's just the byproduct. It's the byproduct. Yeah.
What an amazing frame. Because half the men listening, if they live their life that way, if that's who they were being, life becomes really fun.
Yes.
We have peace, purpose, joy, and connection. Most men sacrifice those four things to create those things.
Yes.
And it's a crazy world.
Yes.
Speaking of peace and joy, with your children, your kids, what do you think they would say you value the most? If they were to describe you as a father, as a leader, what would your kids say that you value the most?
Yeah. I asked them this, and I always think it's a different answer. You should ask, I think every parent or husband should ask, like, how do you know I love you? And see what they say. So I asked my kids, how do you know daddy loves you? And I'm thinking, you spend time with me, or you cook for me, or I don't know what they're gonna say. I definitely had different ideas of what they would say. You tuck me in bed. It's like, because you play with us, daddy. Because you play with us. I'm like, wow, that's your definition of how you know I love you. I'm like, wow, okay. So all these other things, they don't even. It doesn't even matter that I thought mattered. So I'm like, okay, I'll just play with you more then. Because that's, and isn't it funny when you grow up and you think, oh, mommy never loved me, but you realize she loved you in the way that she thought you know what I mean? And you just, no one cared to ask, like, how do you know you love me? And it's like, well, if my mum asked me that, I would say, well, mum, you would probably listen to me and spend time with me. But she would have said, well, I think it's because every day I took you to school and I cooked breakfast for you as a single mum and I cooked dinner for you and I never made you wash the dishes and I cleaned the house myself and we never cleaned at home. We were 4 boys. And like, wow, what a brat I was, to even misread that and carry that to my adulthood.
But what a question.
Yeah.
Because your mother wasn't aware to ask that question.
That's right. Yeah.
So for anyone listening at home, ask your children, how do you know that daddy loves you?
Yeah.
Ask your team, ask your partner. What are some ways you could get curious, or you've done this with your team in business or with your partner? What is a question like that one we could do in business and with your partner to get curious and actually know what the true answer is? Do you have any ideas?
Yeah. So from a business point of view,
Yep.
We hold. I guess we've got 17 full timers now. Since the first person that worked for me, we've had 0 people leave our company, like a 0 churn. I thought that was normal until I started hanging around with
No.
yeah, and like even like hanging out with Russell and all that. It's like they're like, what? You got 17? No one's ever left you since you hired your first person? Yeah, isn't that normal? Like, no.
No.
Like headaches of hiring people leaving, like all this kind of stuff. Like,
Can't find good staff. No one's reliable. I hear it every day.
yeah,
The belief
it's
system.
crazy.
So what question did you ask?
Well, we don't have a dictate. Like we're not dictators in our company. So I'm definitely not a dictator. I don't tell them like do this kind of stuff. So accountability questions of, okay, how would you know you achieve success? And then they'll tell you, okay, if this happens, then I know I achieved success, or this is how I know I got it done well to my own level of satisfaction. Great, awesome. How else would you know? Great, awesome. How else would you know? Great, the criteria. When we have a meeting in 3 months' time, let's see if you met those criteria for yourself. And so they're setting themselves their own accountability on how they would know, and that allows them to internally be driven and feel like they created something on their own, even though success is the outcome's still the same. They just did it their way. Because who cares how they did it? It's just most, I guess, leaders want them to do it their way, like your way. But
In control.
yeah, so I just asked them, how would you know you achieved success? What needs to happen? How do you know you got there? And then they'll tell me how they got there. And then great, awesome. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that requires a lot of trust and surrender, but it's also leadership.
Yeah.
Right? You don't just like delegate and go figure it out. How would you do it? You clearly lead them as well.
Yeah.
What about a question that somebody could ask their partner today, similar to the one you asked your children?
Yeah. Ask your partner, how do you know you feel heard? Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah. That, and I guarantee the answer they say is not what you're thinking. Yeah.
Richmond, it's really cool to see people like you who seemingly have it all. You're happy, you're smiling. It's clearly not a mask. You're healthy, you look good, your energy is amazing, your family is beautiful, and your business made what I consider to be a lot of money last year.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
You can go to richmonddin.com.
Yep.
Yep. That'll be the easiest way. richmonddin.com. Yeah.
And to tie this off, I want you to finish this sentence. Peace for a modern day man is.
You ask great questions.
Thank you.
Wow. Peace for a modern man is knowing that you can always figure it out. Knowing that you can always figure it out. That's peace for a modern man.
Beautiful. And I would say that's certainty.
Yes.
Certainty and self-belief. I love that. Brother, thank you so much for flying here and
You're
bringing
welcome,
your
man.
beautiful
Thanks for having
family.
me. Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, go check Richmond out at his website, and really appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Tony.
If you want to actually take this framework that I shared and apply it to your life, it's part of our Empowered Man Armory and our app that we've spent almost 250 grand on. If you want access to a powerful system where you can use this reframe system I just shared with you every single day, then find me on Instagram at Tony Empowered Man. TonyEmpowedMan. I'll put the link down below as well. Send me a DM saying reframe, and I'll give you this exact framework as well as early access to the Empowered Man app when it launches.